Okay, Spartans, you know where you are. Tyrant's Halo Infinite Legendary Walkthrough. No saves, no deaths. Up to Mission 5, Excavation Site. I don't know much about this one except for there's lasers everywhere and your next boss battle with Bassus. Oh yeah, and he sucks. Good luck, Spartans.
What's up, everyone? It's the Tyrant here, and welcome back to my Halo Infinite Legendary Walkthrough. No saves, no deaths, and it has been a hot minute since my last entry in this series, hasn't it? But fatherhood will do that to you, and I would not trade it for the world. First stuffed animal I bought for, a Master Chief plushie. So here we are. This next mission is Excavation Site, Mission 5. So now that the winter update, and I'll go over that in just here in a minute, has become available, now you have co-op and selectable missions. If you select this mission, then you will start it here. If you started from the tower / recovery, you will start a little bit behind, but after you complete that mission, if you hit restart, you will start right here. Now, the enemies right here will vary. Sometimes you'll get Jackal Stalkers. Sometimes you're going to get brutes, sometimes an elite, sometimes you'll just get a few grunts. And I would recommend fighting it out. You can skip them by going up the cliffs, but that's not necessary. And then after you're done, you're going to have a vehicle that's going to be parked not too far away. Sometimes you'll get a UNSC terrain vehicle like this, the Warthog. Other times you'll get a banished ghost, which I would highly recommend taking if it does come about. As far as the UNSC vehicles, as you can see here, they're not that reliable with the terrain. If you plan on traversing the island a little bit to pick up Spartan Cores and other collectibles, it's worth it. Otherwise, as you can see here, I'd recommend just going ahead and grappling to Excavation Site unless you plan on picking up any other collectibles. So if you're just trying to get through the mission and you don't have a banished ghost, this is usually the better way to do it just because you have more control over your movement. There are multiple Spartan Cores that you can pick up on this island. In Excavation Site itself, there are 2 of them. So right around the drill, there are 2 of them that you can pick up. As I've mentioned before, since you've already upgraded your threat sensor to level 2, which was for the previous boss, you don't need to really worry about that particular equipment anytime soon. I would focus on upgrading the grapple shot and also your shield. Those should be your top priority. In terms of the other 2 Spartan Cores that you'll get in the next mission, which will unlock the drop wall and the thruster, it depends on your playstyle. If you're more defensive, then the drop wall upgrades will come in handy after you've upgraded your shield, as well as your grapple shot. If you're more of, you play more aggressively, you like to speed run, the thruster will be much better simply because it does have invisibility or an active camo that activates once you boost, and it lasts for a few seconds. And of course, fully upgraded, you get 2 charges from it. If you're using bandana, you can pretty much use it continuously. So you can activate fobs here if you want. You can collect valor. It's completely up to you. And you can, of course, collect additional Spartan Cores. I will have a separate video on that, so you can see what Spartan Cores you can pick up and when. But for now, we're just going to go right ahead to Excavation Site. I do have an extra few Spartan Cores that I picked up from my co-op run with my mythic buddy, Old and Achy. And you'll notice here that I'm using the tank gun as well. I'm continuing that for my 1.0 walkthrough. For some of you who don't want to use it, that's completely fine. I am doing a 2.0 walkthrough without it. But for now, my main recommendation for most of this game is to use the battle rifle. There's a Spartan Core right there, by the way. I've already opened it. And there's the second one that's in that building on the top floor. Anyway, so tank gun is what I recommend. And if you're not using the tank gun, your best secondary weapon would be the pulse carbine. It's very effective against shielded enemies. And of course, stick with the battle rifle for your primary weapon. Now, as soon as this cutscene is over with, or you can skip it if you want to, banished drop pods will start running from the sky. Your main objective is to get inside the drill. I'd recommend going to the right right here. You're going to have to deal with some brutes. Some berserker brutes will be among this group right here, and get into the lift as soon as you can. There will be 2 grunts immediately at the top. There's usually a brute on the balcony just behind you, and sometimes a berserker brute will follow you up here. Keep an eye out for this guy. Oh, there he is. He doesn't always show up, but fighting these guys at close range is not typically fun. If you have any dynamo grenades handy, that helps a lot, but they do tend to be very aggressive. Again, that guy does not always show up here, but I do not like them. I do not like them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. From here, you're going to want to go ahead and just eliminate the enemies. You do not have to use the tank gun like I am here, but it is preferable. Obviously, you can... I'll be trying to use it as sparingly as I can. I'm a little bit more liberal with it in this mission because this mission has a lot of berserker brutes and also stalker jackals, which are my 2 most loathed enemies in this game, and they have an abundance of them here. So I'm more okay with using the tank gun here than I am in other missions, but I will still try to stick with the battle rifle as much as possible. But again, if you were choosing not to use the tank gun, you can use the pulse carbine as a secondary weapon. Apart from that, again, the tank gun, now that the winter update has happened, is much easier to get. You can always, if you dropped it or you just didn't pick it up before, you can select Outpost Harmonious, pick it up from there, and then reselect this mission, and you're fine. So once you have this area cleared, again, just keep an eye out for that ballistic ammo crate that we saw back there. You have to turn 2 different valves, which will activate 2 pylons each. 3 of the 4 pylons are very easily accessible from this drill without you actually having to exit it. And typically enemies will not invade this area. They will not follow you up here. I've had, on rare occasion, aside from that first berserker brute, another one enter one of the gravity lifts. But apart from that, it's very rare. They typically will not come up here, so you're fairly safe. But you can take out 3 of the 4 pylons from up here. The 4th one's a bit hidden away. So your main enemies that you need to focus on here, first of all, I consider the Stalker Jackals to be probably the most deadly because they tend to spread out and they can tag team you and take you out in just a couple of really quick shots. So you want to make sure you've got plenty of cover. Berserker Brutes are second because they charge at you so fast, and once they close that gap, it's going to be very painful for you if you can't get away quickly. Again, throw dynamo grenades if you get in that scenario and you have some available. The third main enemy that I would recommend that you focus on after those 2 are any brutes, specifically brute captains that have Ravengers, because they can arc into the drill right here, so they can take you out from the ground much easier than some of the other enemies that have straight shooting weapons. So one thing you're going to want to keep in mind, once you activate the panel over there and you're able to start twisting the valves, you're going to get more drop pods that come down. You're going to get a variety of enemies here, including brutes, brute captains. You're going to get grunts. There are 2 stalker jackals over there on the far left-hand side, on the far left door towards the cliff, which you'll see in a minute. And with a future wave, another phantom is going to come down and drop off more stalker jackals. You do need to be careful of these guys. They are aplenty in this mission. Once again, this is why I have very little issue using the tank gun more here than I do in the other missions. I would recommend taking out as many brutes as you can from up here, especially since a lot of them can shoot from that long range, as you see right there. And just go ahead and take them out so you don't have to worry about traversing, because you are going to have to go down there to turn the valves, and for that 1 pylon as well. That's a bit tucked away. But again, as I said before, with the other 3 pylons, you can simply just take them out from inside this structure right here. I'm going to go ahead and just take these guys out real quick. Just to see how effective the... I hate letting a good skewer go to waste, you know? So we're going to take out some of these guys, even though they're just mostly brute miners. I know there's a couple of captains mixed in here too. But again, do not drop the tank gun if you can help it. Now, fortunately, unlike prior to the winter update, when you drop the tank gun, you were pretty much screwed unless you had a save with the tank gun. If you accidentally drop the scorpion gun now, I prefer the term scorpion gun, you can, again, just as easily stop where you are, go back to selectable missions, which you can do with your TAC map. Go back to Outpost Harmonious, which is, again, extremely short. Collect the Scorpion Gun, and then just return to this mission, and you'll have it again. So now that we've taken out a bulk of the enemies over there, I tend to go with this side first. It's just my personal preference. And there's more battle rifle ammo there. As you can see, there's a rocket launcher as well. Again, completely up to you. Lots of great ammo here. And there's going to be a couple of stalker jackals over here as well. One's going to be should be right around there. There's going to be one over on this ledge over here. They're pretty good at hiding, so if you want to take a couple of shots just to draw their attention, sometimes, as you can see, one is kind of hiding in that cave over there, and the other should be... There he is. Whoop. Oh, right there. Okay, there's the light. Alright, so those are those two. Once the next wave triggers, which is going to be when you activate that first valve right there, that's when the Phantom is going to show up. And then you have to worry. It's either right then or right after you destroy the pylon. No, it's after you turn the valve. That's when the other Phantom shows up. Again, just be mindful of the enemies around you. Keep an eye on your radar. And then as soon as you turn the valve, immediately go right back to the gravity lift to safety. And you should be in relatively good shape here. So again, just kind of keep an eye out for those other... Yep, there's the Phantom. And again, he's going to be dropping off some additional Stalker Jackals, so be very wary of them. Again, if you have the tank gun and you're quick enough, you can destroy the Phantom before too much damage is done. Just keep an eye out for those guys, because they can take you out very quickly. They're very good at teamwork. They have great synergy. Oh, that word. So just keep an eye out for them. Again, you are going to have to go back on the ground to get that other pylon. That's a little bit out of the way, so just keep that in mind. Oh, and there. Oh, we're getting tagged. So the first stalkers are going to be right there on that cliffside over there on the left, on the upper left. Additional ones will be dropped off in the cliff that's directly in front of this door. One will eventually gravitate towards that structure over there on the far right. There we go. There he is. Whoop. At least they're not quite as trigger happy as the Halo 2 Legendary Jackal Snipers. Okay, so hopefully that took care of them. Again, just keep an eye out for those tracer beams from their rifles. But again, if you're not sure if there are any stalkers nearby, you can go ahead and just take some shots, and they'll usually draw attention to themselves. So there's another one right there. But yeah, they are aplenty in this mission. I feel like there's more that you're going to encounter in this mission than any other in the game. In terms of, in the broader spectrum of things, yes, as you explore more of the islands, you will encounter more, but in terms of just getting to the objective, I feel like this mission in particular has way more jackal stalkers, or stalker jackals or whatever, than any other mission out there. Okay, so there's the first pylon right there. One shot with the tank gun will bring it down. Not sure if it's the same way on Mythic Lazo. Okay, so this Phantom is going to bring down more Stalker Jackals right here. Try to take them out if you can. My aim is always off. Keep in mind with the tank gun, you do have to jump when you shoot because it shoots from your feet. Okay, and that should be... Okay, that takes care of those two. So again, just keep an eye out to make sure there aren't any more in the area, because you are going to have to go down there and traverse through the cave, that's what I would recommend, is just simply taking the far left over there, going through the cave, and then dealing with a pylon that way. That way you're not out in the open. And just go ahead and we're going to pick off these enemies right here. You'd be surprised how quickly they can gang up on you with needlers too, and use that super combine to their advantage. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're just going to drop. Just want to make sure there's nothing down there. And then we're going to go ahead and take the cave route just to give us some cover. Be aware on the other side there is an active shade turret. So just keep that in mind. We got a little friend right here. I love how in this game the jackals, once you start attacking them, will sort of lift their shield vertically. So you can use that cave right there just to go ahead and take out the pylon without actually going all the way over to it. And then you can quickly rush back in to the gravity lift right here so you can enter the structure and be, again, relatively safe. Now, like I said before, there should not be any enemies that try to invade this structure and attack you, but I have had it before where a Berserker Brute did just happen to wander up there and completely took me by surprise. Listen for that heavy breathing. And no, you will probably never hear me say that again, hopefully. So then, now that those pylons are down, we're going to go ahead and traverse to this side. The other two remaining pylons will come about once you activate this final gauge right here, but you will want to take out these enemies on the ground first. I have seen people speed rush this area where they activated both valves at one time and got all the pylons up, but that does tend to flush out all the waves at once, and so that can sort of it helps for speed running, but in terms of just getting through the mission easier, it's not recommended, at least in my opinion. But if you're a speed runner and you like a challenge, that's certainly an option for you as well. So we're going to go ahead and try to activate this. Hopefully we won't take too many shots as long as the brutes are distracted. And we'll go ahead and just jump right back into this lift right here. Now from here, the other two pylons can easily be downed just from inside the structure. So really, again, of the four, there's only that one that's sort of hidden away, which you can be inside the cave when you take it out, as long as you're using the tank gun. If you're not, the rocket launcher would probably help you out. Not sure how the skewer does against the pylons, but those two should definitely help you. Tank gun and rocket launcher. So again, if you're not using the tank gun, rocket launcher is another option. Okay, so plain sight right there. Okay, first pylon down. And the second. And that's all you need to do. From here, you can trigger the boss fight, which is Bassus this time. So he's the brute chieftain with the gravity hammer. And again, with the tank gun, he's very easy. At least on Legendary. So, again, just remember he does charge. If you want to be extra safe, you can grapple on top of one of the door frames, and he will not jump up to get you. He does occasionally toss plasma grenades, so you do need to be wary of that. But aside from that, if you don't want to use the tank gun, usually the skewer is completely fine as a backup weapon. Just remember, staying on top of that door frame, if you're not using the tank gun, does come in handy, just so you can be out of range from his gravity launches, because he can go all the way across the room. So again, we're going to go ahead and start it right away. It only takes a few shots to take him down. Again, just be very wary. There we go, and those fusion coils finished him off. And Bassus is dead, and that is Excavation Site. So that is Excavation Site on Legendary with no saves and no deaths, and hopefully these tips benefited you. If you haven't already beaten the mission on Legendary this late into the game's release, And if they did, great. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about what you thought about this walkthrough in the comment section below. And I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy day to sit down and watch this video. I really do hope you enjoyed it. And again, welcome back. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful holiday. I will catch you all right back here next time. And as always, I'm the Tyrant, signing off.
The laser was modified very recently to cut into the ring.
Modified? By who?
Definitely not by Bassus back there. The formula is very sophisticated. Whoever made the change, they didn't just modify the Forerunner architecture, they improved it. Oh, and there are a lot of banished in the conservatory. They've been down there for days. We are walking into another trap.
And you left that till last?
Are you scared?
No. You?
Of course not. I've got you to keep me alive.